さて始めようかね。突撃！はくれ！撃つなら我を撃て！
お父様。
時代が動き出すね。
ご運が開けましたな。
運命は我が輩のものだ。
撃て！手当の隙信長様の世を切り開くのです。この一戦に勝ち豊臣の世を守り抜くのだ。義は我らにあり。
太平の世をなさん。雪が来い、勝負だ。
Hello everyone, my name is Yubar Reingok and welcome to my review of Tecmo Koei's Samurai Warriors 4. I hope you enjoy. Before we get started, none of the actual video has audio. For whatever messed up reason, you can't record the in-game audio from the game itself, but you can still record any voice chat. Personally, I don't see why this happens. I've gotten the impression after reading some forums and such online that it has something to do with legal amongst the game developer and the system developer. Another theory I read says it's just an update issue. I don't really know myself. If you do, though, please feel free to post down in the comments section what it might be. I would really love to know. First off, I own none of the copyright to any of what I'm showing. I am simply using it as reference materials for my reviews. All gameplay footage of Samurai Warriors 4 was recorded by me. I will try to post all the referenced materials and where I got them from below. If I missed anyone, I apologize. I used Google and various wikias, and if you don't know what a wikia is, it's a version of a wiki, but it's more specialized towards some things. If you've ever played Fallout or Skyrim, you'll definitely be familiar with them. But I've used those to help me find some of this information that I come up with. And I also used Tecmo Koei's website for the game to help me build this review, along with my own experience from playing it. Second, before we really get into this review, let me say something to anyone who wants to start posting their own videos or are just starting out with that. Please, be careful what you post and give due to the people you use or reference. I'm speaking from personal experience, and I feel like it's my duty to inform you because I had a video of mine blocked by EA Games. I don't blame them or hold anything against EA, mostly because I love a lot of their games, and also because this was a good way for me to learn right and wrong on videos. I had to go back and look at some things to understand what it was I did. Now, just don't expect an email from them explaining why they blocked your video or for them to ask you to change anything, though. It would be nice, God knows. I would have loved to have gotten an email explaining why they blocked it, and if they said, hey, change this out or with something else. Post it like that. Take down the one we didn't like. You know, it'll all be good then. That would have been cool as hell. It's basically EA saying then, you know, hey, we support what you're doing, but be careful what you post. You know, some of this, there's some copyright shit here, and it could get you in trouble. I'm off on a tangent. I apologize. Okay, so review time. I actually meant to do a pre-review and had everything set up to start doing it. I had the script being written. I was ready to get recording stuff, and I was going to start editing, finding footage and all that to use. I was going to post it about a week before the launch until on the 15th I received a notice from my bank that a purchase online had been made. Apparently they moved the date up a week from what I could tell. If anyone has paid attention to the video game industry, especially recently, I'm sorry, my English is terrible even though I've lived here my whole life. Anyways, if you noticed with the video game industry, especially recently, release dates have kind of been all over the place with the new consoles. Battlefield Hardline was slotted to come out October this year, 2014, but because of some, I guess, problems, or, the community said, you guys got a lot of shit to fix, they pushed it back to February. Samurai Warriors got moved up a week from what I could tell, and I checked the date literally the month before to be safe, so the decision had to have been made recently, right? I mean, Shadow of Mordor got moved up as well, so yeah, it's been kind of crazy. Except it's not what happened here. Apparently, GameStop screwed up, which it really doesn't happen, at least to me. They charged me for a game a week early and sent a code to each of my emails, which was weird. But I didn't record the pre-review because of it, and it really held me up. But I got everything. It all worked great. I even posted a reaction video, I guess you would say, in which, my initial reaction to first playing the game. And I posted it on my channel. And if you want to go see that, I'll leave a link down below for you to see. But I say this because you really should double check release dates. You should probably keep somewhere on your phone or on a calendar or whatever where it is, so you know ahead of time. You purchase this, get ready for it to hit your account or whatever, or, and keep checking, because this shit's getting switched around a lot recently. So that's why I say this now. All right. I get off topic a lot, huh? Okay, Samurai Warriors 4. Now, I'm a big fan of the Warriors series. I've been playing Dynasty Warriors since Dynasty Warriors 5, and Samurai Warriors, well, I got 2 and Samurai Warriors 2 Extreme Legends, but they put the 3 on Wii, and I don't have one, so I didn't get it. But I have played all 3 Warriors Orochi, which is, it features all the characters from both series in one game, plus some new ones, and it's fun as hell. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the entire series and the franchise, so it's not going to be easy for me to give an unbiased review, but I'll try. I might fail, but I'm still going to give it that try. That still counts, by the way. Anyways, the series has been around since the original Sony PS1, and it continued through all the way to now. This longevity is uncommon for many video games, so this tells us already that there's a formula here that works. Look at Call of Duty. We all fought through World War II like mad, so many times, pushing through as best we could, defeating the Nazis and saving everyone. Then we got modern, and the war followed, and we went to modern warfare, and we were fucking going with UAVs and shit, and just, yeah, it was cool. Now we're about to get advanced, which, I've taken a look at recently, and it looks like Black Ops 2, and I hated Black Ops 2, so yeah. Sorry, everyone. Anyways, so Final Fantasy, Squaresoft, and now Square Enix's biggest and best franchise, has made 14 different versions, 2 of which are online, and are about to come out with number 15. Now, what is my point in all this? That when a game has this kind of longevity, or a franchise has this kind of longevity, it's for a damn good reason. They found a formula that keeps players coming back for every game. They have a fan base that will follow it forever. Now, I know I bash Call of Duty a lot, and I really do bash Call of Duty a lot, but let me reiterate. I have nothing against many of the games, and it's mostly just about the players. It's become low class with who plays it now. Your basic standard is, some kid like some underage kid who doesn't know what the fuck and he's literally spouting off at the mouth whatever he can, cursing out as much as he can just to sound, like he's cool or whatever. And it makes you really want to smack the guy. And I'm not like, in the game. I mean, you want to go to his house and you want to spank him or something. It's ridiculous. Especially when you hear what comes out of him. Oh, God, I got a headache thinking about it. Wow, that's how bad it is. Anyways, well, I didn't get Ghost, but I may be picking up Advanced Warfare still. And I know I just said that I hated Black Ops 2, and this looks a lot like it, but I don't want to just write it off. I loved Modern Warfare. It was fun, especially the single player. Modern Warfare 2 was my favorite, as was a lot of people's. And as much as I hate the players in the online community, I love the multiplayer. I don't want to shoot down yet, though, but it looks really similar to Black Ops 2, and the system literally gets more broken every year to me, because if you aren't just automatically badass at running and gunning, you have no place in this game, and that's bullshit. I should be able to sit and camp and snipe like I do in Battlefield 4, be able to pick a spot and pick people off, but I can't. You can't do that. You don't have that option. You just have to go and run and hope you're good enough to unlock anything. That's not how I play. I don't like to just run and gun. I'm not good at it. I'm decent. I can hold my own, but there are these guys out there who's just like, if I could come around corners pre-firing and shit, and it's like, you can't keep up with these guys because they've had years of this, and they might as well be playing on the MLG circuit for all the shit they pull. But my point here is, this combat keeps players coming back, and that's why a lot of people keep coming back and playing Call of Duty. Now, even me as someone, I've grown to loathe the online community, but this game still makes me want to come back and play it again. And that's because its system works. It freaking hooks me, man. I want to give it another chance. Let's turn to Final Fantasy now. Final Fantasy has players coming back time and time again, falling in love with the stories and the gameplay. If you ask any Final Fantasy or Squaresoft, Square Enix fan what their favorite Final Fantasy games are, you'll likely hear these games listed. Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy 12, and 13, and now 14. I'm going on and not stopping on. Point is, there isn't something as one favorite. Each game is unique, and each story in it is unique. The more likely answer you'd hear would be, I have to pick? I've played everything from 7 up. I've loved every single one of them. Which ones take my top 3, though? Final Fantasy 10, 12, and 14. No, wait. No. 7, 10, and... No. 8. No, god damn. You know what? Fuck it. I just love them all. Do you get my point now? The longevity means it works and it deserves the attention. This shit is like crack to a lot of us. Especially Final Fantasy. Fuck you COD guys. I'm just, RPG, Final Fantasy. Go buy it. You'll become one of us. One of us. One of us. So what makes Samurai Warriors or any of the other games in the franchise work? Well, for one, they're based off of something historical. Dynasty Warriors is based off of the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, in which the novel itself was based loosely off of the events following the fall of the Han Dynasty and the rise of the Three Kingdoms. For those of you who don't know, go look up history on the wiki page or whatever. It was part of China's history. So yes, it does feature some historical figures, like, Liu Bei, Cao Cao, Sun Quan. Yeah, I said those right. I think I did. They were saying wrong in 5, apparently. Anyways, so, yes, it does feature some historical figures. But the story itself is based off a loosely based novel written long ago. However, this in turn makes history itself interesting. After playing Dynasty Warriors 5, I found myself researching the actual Three Kingdoms to learn about it. It just piqued my interest, because I thought, this shit happened? I know it's based off of it, but I wanted to read up on it. It piqued my interest. So, it does pique the interest in history. It does. God knows how much people want to learn about the past, and this plays a part in it. Samurai Warriors, however, is actually based off the actual Sengoku era, or the Warring States era, that unified Japan. Now, again, it's loosely based, but it's there. So the historical aspect plays a part. It's also a fighting game, there's that. However, it's a fighting game that you beat the piss out of over 1,000 enemies, including officers in the enemy army. You also move with your own army, take positions, set out traps. It's endless fun. So much to do. But this is only touching on some of the stuff lightly. Now, I think the best place to start is to first go over some of the features, starting with the character roster. You can choose from 63 characters, in which you can choose 2, I'll say it again, 2 to play as. I'll explain that part in a bit. 54 of the characters are returning from previous releases, including iconic figures such as Yukimura Sanada, Nobunaga Oda, Masamune Date, and Ieyasu Tokugawa. But the roster includes 9 new characters, including Yukimura Sanada's brother, Nobuyuki Sanada. There are also over 1,000 named NPCs as well, and you'll understand the significance of that later. Now, let me talk about the 2 character thing. When you go in to play in any of the game modes, you can select 2 characters, your main and your secondary. You can switch between these with the options button for the PS4 users, or, oh, right, the game isn't on Xbox One. Sorry for you guys, and I do mean that. It's a good game. The select pad will serve as your pause button, bringing up the in-game menu. From your in-game menu, you can view the battlefield map and find out which officers are in the battle, view your own character stats and moves, and the battle log of events that has happened. This is what you'll be using most. Let's take a look at the in-game menu really fast, though. First, you'll have a map showing the current state of the battlefield when you come in, and where your objectives are. You can flip through the objectives with the L1 or the R1 buttons. Under Battle Info, you can view your objectives, which lets you look at what you currently have and which ones you've completed or failed. Next is the player characters. This lets you look at the 2 characters you can play as and go over their weapons and their movesets. You may notice the different types up in the top right, but we'll get to that later. Next is All Officers. Now this allows you to view all the officers on the battlefield. Now when you first start playing, you'll notice an icon next to the famous officers' names. This will tell you the conditions you need to fulfill when defeating the famous officer in order to obtain their unique treasure. We'll go over these treasures and what they do here in a bit though. Let's keep focus on the menu. Next is the battle log, which you will on occasion use in order to read back on something important you may have missed in regards to objectives. This will read back all the announcements that you get and the dialogue that was said. Next are things you can actually do while playing and fighting, but I guess you'd use these next 3 if you're not too bright to use them in-game. First is Switch Character, which does exactly what it says and switches you between your 2 characters. Use Item allows you to choose an item on the currently played character and use it. Commands will let you go to the screen, which allows you to issue orders to either officer you control. Then is Basic Info, which allows you to save mid-battle, change settings, view your move list, and go over any tutorials you may need refreshing on. And the last item on the menu is kind of self-explanatory. Why did I go over all that? Because we are talking about features. And I'm going to go over everything. Because I like to be thorough, and this is a review, so it kind of demands it. But back on topic, let's get to talking about the real stuff. First off, there are multiple modes to pick from. Story mode, which lets you experience many different tales of various factions, and then 2 separate scenarios. Free mode, which allows you to play any map you've unlocked through story mode and play as any character you've unlocked to play it. Chronicle mode lets you take your own custom character and forge your own path through the land, meeting various other officers, and ally yourself with powerful new friends as you complete your objective. I know, we'll get into Chronicle mode in more detail later. Just let that slide for now. Dojo lets you create more custom characters, view the biographies of the officers you met in Chronicle mode. Vault then lets you view cutscenes and listen to music and edit your scenes and go over various tutorials. Download allows you to, view the downloads and DLCs you have and purchase others. These are the main modes you can choose from, at least until Extreme Legends comes out. It should always be noted that in story and free mode, you can play with either 1 or 2 players if you have 2 controllers, or you can play online with another player. Let's start with story mode. You have 2 different types of stories, regional and unification. Regional allows you to take part in the various region stories, 10 in total. You'll be able to take part in the battles of the Shimazu of Kyushu, the Mori of Chugoku, Motochika Chosokabe and the new character Koshosho in Shikoku, the Azayan Kinki, Masamune Date story in Tohoku, the Hojo story in Kanto, the Uesugi clan story along with the Takeda clans, Ieyasu Tokugawa's starting story in Tsuruga, and the Oda clan's long history. You also have the secret history, which is basically a couple side stories that are funny and not historical in any way, shape, or form. But you have to play many of the different regional stories to unlock other regional stories and eventually the 2 unification stories. The 2 unification stories take place along the same timeline, but tell 2 different stories, or rather 2 different scenarios, I guess you could call it. The first is simply the unification of Japan, first under Hideyoshi Hishiba, who then became Hideyoshi Toyotomi, the Battle of Sekigahara between Ieyasu Tokugawa and Mitsunari Ishida, and the eventual unification of all of Japan under the Tokugawa. The second is along that same timeline, but focuses primarily on the 2 Sanada brothers and their eventual split, all leading up to the final battle in which the 2 must ultimately do battle against each other. Free mode allows you to play any of the previously beaten story mode levels as any character of your choosing, unlike in story mode, where you must choose from a select group of fighters to play the battle as. When choosing your characters in either mode, you can also change their costumes if you have a DLC or the character already has an alternate that you may be able to unlock by playing the game, and you can visit the shop. The shop allows you to purchase mounts, which you unlock more of as you finish story mode. You can also upgrade weapons you've unlocked and exchange gems you've got for more of another if you're lacking. You can also reforge one weapon from one character and have it made into a weapon for another. For example, you have some badass weapons already for Nobunaga Oda, but not really any for Mitsuhide Akechi. Well, you can take a weapon that has Connoisseur from Nobunaga Oda, or any of his other powerful weapons, and Connoisseur, by the way, gives you more powerful weapons, and you can have that reforged into a weapon for Mitsuhide Akechi. Now, the stats reset when you do that, but after playing for several hours, you'll have more than enough gems to fix that issue. After you finish with story and free mode, feel free to hop into Chronicle mode. Here, you can create your own custom character. You start by selecting the sex you want them to be. You then get a list of things to use to create this character how you want. Now, you won't start out with a lot of armor and weapons to choose from, but as you play through Chronicle mode, you'll unlock more. You start with naming your character how you want, though. Then there's the face option. In here, you can select the type of hairstyle. I have 60 for men, the same amount for women, and the hair color. Then you can work on the shape of the face, the eyebrows and the eyes, shaping them how you want and choosing the color, and it even includes cat's eyes in there. For female characters, you'll have a list of makeup to choose from and use, including the color. Then you alter the nose and the mouth how you want. Last are the accessories. Now, here they did something weird, which doesn't make sense to me. You'd think that the list would be the same for either, but it isn't for some reason. The first list has one set of accessories to choose from, and the other has completely different, which is weird. To me, at least. Next is body, where you can choose from the character's build, the size of their head, their height, how built or skinny they are, their arm length, and leg length, and for women, how big the boobs are. And yes, everyone already knows the guys are going to go with the biggest unrealistic size, so stop fussing about it. We're men. We know we're pigs, and we accept it happily. Get used to it. Now, next comes the armor. You can give yourself a head accessory if you want, but note that many of these will change your hairstyle when equipped. Then you can choose the body, arms, hips, which are actually the hips and the legs, which are really just the feet. Finally, you can select the crest you want. This could be out of 90 preset crests, including famous officers' crests, like the Sanada or the Yoda crests, or your own uploaded crest you can upload from a USB drive. Next is your weapon. Now, you only have 5 to start from. The sword, the spear, the naginata, the great sword, which I started with and found to be quite badass, and the twin swords. Now, I'll accept the last one as power-based, and again, we'll get into that later. Now, as you play through Chronicle mode, you'll meet many famous officers. By continuing to interact with them, you can unlock their weapons to use for your own custom character, and we'll cover how to do that in a bit. Now, you can also select the kanji that will display when you use a Musu attack or a True Musu attack. For those new to the series, True Musu is normally used when your health is in the red and does far more damage than normal. But there is a weapon skill that can unlock it to be used anytime you want. Now, I haven't come across that skill yet, so I can't say for certain they actually put it in again, but it's been a thing before, so I'm not doubting it. Anyways, next up is a voice. You can choose from several different types, and alter the sound how you want, making it deeper or more high-pitched. You want them to sound like they're on helium? Go ahead. You want them to sound like they're from the underworld? Go ahead. After that, you select your growth type. Balanced means everything levels up at the same rate as all the others. Aggressive focuses on leveling up attack first and foremost. Sturdy levels up health and defense first and foremost. And skillful levels up mounted and speed stats. In Portrait, you can select the face that will pop up for your character on the screen next to their health, or, if you're playing the other character on your team, it will be the picture shown as to where they are on the map. Now, you can upload your own photo to use here as well. And of course, Register Image allows you to upload those pictures. After you're finished, hit done and boom! Character created. Now, in Chronicle mode, you first start by selecting the Lord you want to serve under. Now, so far, all this really does that I've seen is simply select which area you want to start in. After that, you'll go into something of a tutorial that will take you through how the game mode works. Basically, you move from one point to another, finding items which are marked as yellow question marks, fight enemies, shop, and learn new skills by selecting them at your mentor, and then achieving the necessary requirements in battle. Now, you should get a few characters to start off. For me, I got Goemon Ishikawa, Okuni, Musashi Miyamoto, and Kojiro Sasaki. Well, here's two things I find odd. Firstly, Musashi and Kojiro weren't anywhere in any of the actual story mode fights from when I played through them. So, they just threw them in for Chronicle, I guess? kind of weird. Second is that looking at Goemon, Musashi, and Kojiro, all their outfits are the exact same as they were in Samurai Warriors 2. And Kojiro is the same from Samurai Warrior 2's Extreme Legends. They are in great detail, yeah, but still, you'd think we'd have some upgrade. You'd think we'd upgrade the look at some point. Jesus. Anyways, you should have some starters to run with. I don't know if they'll be the same as mine, because I've just been playing through the one scenario with my one guy, so, I haven't restarted or anything yet, so I can't say for sure if you'll get anything different. You might, depending on where you start. Anyways, now, you may ask why this is even necessary. Your own custom guy can handle all the battles by themselves, right? But still, you love using Musashi's weapons, right? Well, as you use him and bring him into battle, you can level up your friendship as you do. Friendship is different this time around than other warrior titles that feature this, as gaining full friendship with a character allows your custom characters to use their weapons themselves. It's actually more rewarding this time, because before they just gave you gems or, some little I love you thing. Wasn't really rewarding. You'll meet more as you travel too. And once you reach level 4 friendship with a character, you can bring them into battle with you. Now, you'll get cutscenes with these characters that can up the rate at which your friendship upgrades or decrease it, depending on how you answer a choice in these scenarios. Another way to up the rate is by selecting a job via the mentor. The job the mentor assigns, well, so far, I just see it as something you complete as a side, but I haven't completed all of them yet, so I'm not sure if there's a prize at the end or if it just gives me another trophy for PlayStation sympathy, Anyways, different ones affect how fast your friendship increases with different characters. But going and find them enough times also seems to work as well, so why? I don't know. Now, shops work somewhat the same as in story mode, but here in Chronicle mode, you can also purchase armor in these. Remember to visit after you unlock a new area as well. It will have added more armor. If you want outfits for both genders, though, you'll have to switch between them to get the armor for them. So you may want to make 2 characters, one male and one female. There is also a different shop, a wandering merchant, who sells unique pieces of armor not found in the regular shops. You'll also find, as you fight through battles, regular officers will want to join your cause as well. You can accept them if you want, but, and here's the kicker, one normal officer, Kagetora Uesegi, well, playing through the Hojo and Uesegi stories, you see this guy, he isn't a generic character like all the rest. He actually has a face and a look. But he isn't a playable character, really. He's not like, anybody main. He's considered one of the normal officers. In Chronicle mode, you can get him. And he's level 50 right off the bat, which is OP as fuck. I think this guy is going to become a playable character in Extreme Legends. It makes sense. Why put him in this way if you didn't have any good meaning for him? They have 2 unique normal officers. One called Tazo and Kagetora. And I just got Tazo a couple hours ago, so, yeah. Anyways, you can play as these normal officers in Chronicle mode if you wanted to as well. But, for whatever reason, and I can't figure this out, you can't have 2 custom characters to play as once. I find that weird. Why can't I have 2 at once? It seems stupid, honestly. I should be able to play as, one guy and another guy I make. I just think that should work, Anyways, from here, you battle against many enemies, some of which you have to fight if you want to open up more of the land to explore. You're going to have to at some point, right? Now, as for weapons and items, first off, Each character has their own unique weapon and skill set for that weapon. You can't switch and change weapons from one character to another, unlike Dynasty Warriors 8, where you can have a character wield whichever weapon you want them to. Now, your customer character can, though, but that's as far as it goes. Now, instead of items being dropped by enemies, like power-ups and such, as it would in Dynasty Warriors, you can equip items and use them to give you those bonuses. Most items are one-time uses only. However, and I mentioned this earlier, there is a better solution, via beating the piss out of famous officers in a specific way. Now, when you face a famous officer, they have a treasure on them. These treasures can be obtained by meeting the conditions on which you must defeat them. Now, this raises the chance to obtain the treasure off them every time until you do finally get it. Playing through all the characters available to play in story mode will really help with this and will even unlock many of them. These treasures are unlike the other items, though, as besides having some unique abilities to them, they recharge and can be used again and again throughout the battle. Ain't that useful, eh? Now, there's a new attack as well in this game. Well, it's new to me. They may have introduced this in Samurai Warriors 3, but I never played it, so I wouldn't know. Anyways, it's called Hyper Attack. Think normal attack, but bigger, and you dash around as you do it. What I mean is you literally do dash around a short distance, hitting enemies as you go, and this is done using the triangle button, and the square button will execute a special attack. Think literally the reverse of the normal attacks. Instead of hitting square and then triangle, you'd hit triangle and then square. You also have a special you can use. Depending on the weapon or character you use, this can either be an attack, a skill boost, or a boost to your allies. You also still have Rage Mode, where your attack, defense, speed, and attack speed are all increased slightly as the gauge goes down. You can also use a Musu attack, which becomes a Frenzy Musu attack and does more damage than a normal Musu attack. Now, let's go over the different attack types. You have 4: Normal, Power, Hyper, and Special. Normally have the majority of normal attacks, with the special attack up to 8 special attacks. Each is unique and is something different, but their basic focus is normal, and that's where all their skill is just keep on hitting that square button and producing that normal attack, and every now and again hit that triangle button to get an effect. Powers focus solely on the power attacks, and that's where their specialties lie, and these characters are built differently. Whereas normal characters have a continuous normal attack where along the way you get to press the triangle button, power-based characters have multiple power attacks. And this means that you hit the square button and do a normal attack, and then you can hit the triangle button 3 times. You can hit the square button twice and do 3 special attacks then, and this can go, and they'll have 4, 1 for each hit. So you would have 1 normal attack, then 3 special, or 2 normal attacks, 3 special, 3 normal attack, 3 special, or 4 normal attack, 4 special. Then you have Hyper. Now, these vary as well as Special. And the reason these do is because these are focused not specifically on the normal attack, but more on the amount of hyper attacks. Hyper attack characters will have more and bigger attacks when it comes to hyper attacks. Meaning they'll cause more and bigger attacks, and they're more focused on taking out the majority of enemies. Now, this doesn't mean they're completely handicapped. They can still take out an officer, but they're much more suited to taking out massive numbers of enemies. Special focuses more on the special attack. Now, this varies, of course, from buffing yourself and giving yourself a defense boost or an attack boost or a speed boost to very unique ones. Sakon Shima, one of the characters, will launch a volley of projectiles in front of him, from arrows to gunfire to cannonballs. The ninjas, Kotaro Fuma and Hanzo Hitori, will create doubles of themselves that sync up and attack with them. And these vary from character to character, and all the special skills are unique to each character mostly. Now some do have the same, but there are a few that are just unique to each character. These abilities can also be used in the items, oddly enough. Yeah? What I mean by that is, say you like playing as Sakon Shima, but you hate a special ability. Now, Katsui Shibata, on the other hand, all those explosive attacks and whatnot, well, that's just fun. You can equip the item that you received after beating Katsui Shibata enough times to unlock this little special item, and you can use that every now and again to create those attacks. There you go. And that's the beauty of it. By beating these officers, you get to use their specials and such. And some offer different things, but it's there. And let's talk about the different attacks a bit more. Normal is literally just normal attack. Nothing big, nothing special. Some are a bit bigger than the others, but that, again, it depends on the character. Power attacks. The first one is generally an up-in-the-air attack that launches your opponent up and airborne, and the combo continues to hit them from in the air. The second is normally a stun attack, which stuns them, but with power-based characters or characters with more power-based attacks, that can range from first knocking them out to doing other things, other attacks following it. And you don't have to press the button multiple times. You can press it once or twice and then stop. Or you can press it all 3 times and get the full effect. Power attack 3 generally is an area effect attack, meaning it hits a wide area. 4 can vary from character to character, but it's mostly, again, a big area attack. I think that covers all of the features. Now, how does it play? Very well, but it does lack in some areas. I started playing this on easy because I was learning everything for the first time, but at some point it apparently switched to normal on me without my knowledge. Honestly though, I could not have told you the difference. Nothing seemed to change at all, as I still wrecked everyone in my path with ease. So, it's somewhat easy, but as soon as I kicked it up to hard, I found the officers serving alongside me were far more prone to dying and dying quickly. It seemed iffy at first, but you can't focus on defeating numbers this time, and instead have to focus on the officers more, and that's to be expected. Whereas in the others, the easier things, you can just go ahead and cruise your way through and kill as many as you want before you get to the officer. And yes, the AI does need some work, honestly. For some reason, when I send my other character off to attack another officer, or defend a spot, or to come and follow and protect me, they sometimes just stop in a spot for no reason at all. I have to manually go and move them every time this happened. If you don't pay attention to the map, then this could really hurt you at times. But for the most part, everything is really solid. Hordes of hundreds of enemies surround you whenever you wander near large groups of enemies. And even if you do a big move that defeats everyone around you, more spawn very quickly, and this can go on for a good while. It really feels like you're facing a literal army of enemies. Reaching 1,000 kills isn't hard, and it has definite advantages. When you hit 1,000, you get a boost to attack speed, defense, and spirit or your rage gauge, for those who don't understand the two. You can obtain the items that do all this to use in-game, but having all 5 at once throws up the badass factor by quite a bit. Then, like me, you probably go postal and start hyper-attacking masses of enemies for fun. Fighting officers, especially in the higher difficulties, can be somewhat challenging, but at the highest difficulty, Nightmare, it's downright insanity. And if you wander into a section of the map that's red, then you'll either have to take out the standard bearer, who, once defeated, will stop raising morale for the area, and their attack, defense, and health will drop. But until you do, their attack, health, defense, and attack rate are all much higher, especially in the deep red zones. Alright? Now, if you wander into the deep red zones, you're basically in nightmare mode on any of the other difficulties, because those are hard as hell to beat. And wandering into these areas does make it challenging to even beat the normal enemies, okay? Now, the game handles superbly despite all the numbers of enemies, and the graphics are top-notch too. But the voice acting is spot on, and it's not something you expect in a game where everything is spoken in Japanese. I mean, go watch an anime, any of them, in Japanese with subtitles. You'll see what I mean in an instant, but they don't shirk the graphics anywhere. There are the cutscenes where the characters stand there and talk, and then it describes what they do. If you don't have the imagination to use there to picture it, then these scenes look absolutely ridiculous and like they just half-assed the thing to save time and money. And I don't like it personally, but my imagination kind of saved it. But the graphics on these are the same used in the big cutscenes where a lot of action is happening, and even in the game itself when you're playing. And quite frankly, these graphics are simply amazing. Now, I know the order, a game to come out later, is supposed to have the best that showcases exactly what the new consoles can do. But this right here is one fucking hell of a good start. And I would go on and on about the graphics and the lip syncing. But there's also the soundtrack. It uses traditional Japanese instruments in all of the songs, giving it authenticity in the game. I mean, the soundtrack is just perfect for the game. All the right sounds. And it plays exactly as how Samurai Warrior fans would expect. And it's just all around badass. Now, looking at everything and after playing it myself, I think it's time to rate the game. So, what would I give it? I think maybe a 9 out of 10 will work just fine here. This game is a testament to the franchise, and it lived up to the hype perfectly. But the reason it doesn't get a full 10 out of 10 is because it does have some issues and bugs that need fixing. But besides that, this game is everything a fan of the series would expect and then some. The Japanese voiceovers might throw you off at first, but after a while it just fits perfectly and you can't hate it. And maybe they will introduce English voiceovers someday, but even if they don't, the Japanese just makes the whole thing feel authentic, like you're playing a piece of history almost. I have almost nothing bad to say about it, just some minor concerns and some of the fixes it still needs. I don't know what they'll do with the DLCs, but if they introduce any weapon packs, they'll probably be used by custom characters, unlike in Dynasty Warriors 8, obviously. But for now, I just can't help but love this game in its entirety. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this review and found it helpful. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and share on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel or click on my name or icon below to go to my channel and view more of my videos. I also did a review, or a pre-review actually, a little while ago on Battlefield Hardline. So if you want to go check that out, go ahead. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Have a good one, and keep on gaming, folks. Bye.